Here we go. You doing your magic.
I think it's Monday.
Magic, Janine. Yes.
Monday, Mary Grace. Oh,
Happy
wow.
Monday. It's funny because the weather changes so much. It's my understanding that it's all over the country. It's doing weird things like this. So today was so chilly. I have on a sweater dress. I had to go to a funeral
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
tights and everything. And now it's warm. So I have on my sweater dress with flip flops. I'm like, see, one of these things just doesn't belong. Yeah.
It's interesting because I went out today I had a couple appointments, and it felt like summer here, and it didn't feel like that yesterday here. So I was absolutely dressed weird. So I went sleeveless then because I was so hot, it's insane to me what's happening. So what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
doing right now,
everywhere.
Mary Grace, we're live on the business page, the Grace and Grit Studio business page. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tag everyone in the group. I'm sharing it over there now. I'm also still letting people in. So we're going to go ahead, and people are starting to come on. I'm seeing some comments. So let's just give them a moment. And while we do that, I'm going to ask you how you are doing. I know you were on some trips.
Yeah, I've been going a million miles an hour. So
You have.
I went on the St. Thomas trip with Park Lane.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this a little bit more as we discuss our job. But a couple times a year, we are able to earn trips. And this past one was St. Thomas. It's really delightful. The water is absolutely beautiful, just like we do at Imagine, like 3 different turquoise colors in one. It's a clear,
Wow.
you can see to the bottom of the ocean. It's so beautiful. I went to St. John for the day, which is another island. We went past that island, the Epstein Island, where all the shenanigans happen with Prince Andrew and stuff. Oddly, I mean, disgusting, but oddly fascinating still. Like, oh, that's that island that so many documentaries have been made about. And then I turned around. I was home for a couple days, and then I went to a wedding in Dallas. I had a cowboy hat custom made. I've always wanted to do it because I've never had like a hat that fit. It's so embarrassing to have such a little hat around my little brain. So
That little brain's done well in life, so you shouldn't be embarrassed by that. I think that when you have something custom done like that, it makes it even more special because it's made just for you.
It was a neat experience for both the person that I was, the girl that I was with, and myself to see how they do it, and that there's such a talent out there. And the hatter was all proud. It was the smallest one he ever made, so it was cool.
That's awesome. Well, listen, we do have people hopping on. I think it's a slow go because I had to move it the way that I did, but there's about 16 in one place and 15 in the other. So
Holy moly. Talk about big brains, you guys. Yeah,
we're
so smart.
There. I'm just looking to see. There's somebody had said, oh, thank you. Okay. So what we want you to do is comment right away and let us know who your stylist is. Thank you to some of you who have already done that. Chris, welcome. We're glad Renee invited you. Teresa, welcome. We're glad Brenda invited you. Sharon, welcome. We're glad that Melissa invited you. So yep. We've got people hopping on here. Make sure you say hello and talk to us because, we love the conversation about all of this back and forth, and this is what we love to do. So somehow it has become Monday night again, and here we are, Mary Grace.
I haven't led with this in a while, but you've heard me say it, Janine. God love you. You've heard me say everything a million times. But one of the statistics that I learned when I became an entrepreneur and was doing classes in order to just be better at my skill set, be a better business runner, all that good stuff, was that out of 95% in the people in the world, of 100%, 95% are into failure avoidance. Only 5% will even check out something new, much less join it or do it. So I just really have a lot of admiration for whatever you said, 31 people on this call right now, or however many more have joined, just to be willing to check something out, even if you're just here like, oh, I might win free jewelry. What happens when you do things like that is maybe something you were never going to look at in a million years. You all of a sudden hear a little something, you go, huh? Why not me? So glad you're here.
Well, I like the why not me, and I think that these calls are we shouldn't call them calls. I guess we should call them streams, live streams. These live streams are so important because not only do we get to talk to people on a weekly basis. I mean, people do come back to hear it more than once. But, we do a little giveaway. So you get a little bit of sparkle and you learn a little bit about what we do. And, your stylists every single one of you that are here right now either are a stylist or have a stylist with Park Lane. And I can speak for all stylists when I say we work really hard to try to give you all of the information available when it comes to purchasing, when it comes to hosting, and when it comes to, thinking about either signing up or bringing a friend along to sign up. So this is kind of exciting. The price of admission tonight for our free jewelry call is that you listen to us for the next 20 minutes. I have the absolute distinct pleasure of interviewing our executive company vice president, Mary Grace Lewandowski, and I get to ask her 4 questions that, quite honestly, I think most people, these are the 4 questions they want to start out with when they're thinking about becoming a direct seller or becoming a stylist with Park Lane. And then what I'm going to ask all of you to do is I'm going to offer that you bring back a friend next week to listen to this, because that friend, that buddy is going to help you make the decision, I think. So it's always good to bring someone else along. And hey, the both of you will be entered into the free jewelry drawing. What we do is we have a Google questionnaire that you'll fill out at the end. I will drop it in the comments, but it's also listed above in the featured section. Mary Grace, let's go ahead and get started. And Mary Grace has a little bit of a cold, so she might take a drink here and there. She was worried about how she sounded, but I think she sounds completely fine.
Sometimes it hurts to listen to people almost,
Yeah, I know. I always think that too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask everybody. We're gonna get real involved here tonight. I'm gonna ask everybody to drop a heart in the comments if you are a jewelry lover. Drop a heart in the comments if you're a jewelry lover. And Mary Grace, I'm gonna ask the first question to you, and that is, why direct sales? Like, what is it about direct sales that's actually different than multi-level marketing, MLM? But why direct sales?
It's funny because I had never even really heard those terms. I just went to a party and thought it looked fun and said, sign me up. But really, what I've learned, direct sales means direct to consumer. So we serve as a liaison. We serve a really neat need, in my opinion, in today's world, because a lot of people just online shop with us, but they still love that there's a human being to help them, like give them some ideas and show them when something's on sale and give them like the heads up about the wonderful deals that we have and stuff. Multi-level marketing, we are not multi-level marketing. We're party plan, really is the best way to
Right.
say it, whether people do parties online or in person. Or just, we definitely take single orders and stuff. But overall, our goal is to sell the product. Naturally, we want to also like add people to our team because it's a great deal and we absolutely love to share it with people. But multi-level marketing, their focus is definitely more on recruiting. They are looking to recruit or change people from customers to reps all of the time. So that's a heavy recruiting thing. And
Right.
my understanding, I hesitate to say too much because obviously I don't know a whole lot about multi-level marketing. I know a whole lot about direct sales. But with multi-level marketing too, as you start to build a team, you generally have like one leg and another leg, and you got to keep one leg stronger. You only get paid on the one leg, and you got to even out the legs and all that. With direct sales, it's running your own business with all of the benefits and none of the overhead. It really is. We just run little jewelry stores out of our houses in the best way possible. You guys have heard me talk about it a million times if you've been on the call, but if you haven't had an opportunity, I know in the past Janine has put up the little link, but there's a guy named David Bach, and I was already in direct sales when I listened to this is how old I am, listened to a videotape of him, and he was just gobsmacked and going on and on and on about the benefits of direct sales. And the reason that he became such a direct sales like a champion
Guru.
was because he is still, I think, a financial planner. And he said when he had figured out how normal everyday people could become millionaires by just taking a certain amount of money and investing in it every month, and not a great amount of money, doable. I think at that time it was $200-300 a month. To be
Right.
fair, today it might be $300-400 a month. But he said if people would take that much money and invest it every month, that they would become millionaires in a relatively short time. What he started to notice is people weren't that impressed with his plan. Instead, they practically laughed in his face because they didn't have an extra $200, $300, $400 a month. And he just realized in that time, and he still realizes it's still true, how many people, the way he said it is, they don't live paycheck to paycheck.
No.
They live beyond paycheck to paycheck. They're constantly in a state of debt and always trying to catch up. And he said when he went to problem solve with them on how they could get to a place where they could make an extra like a month without totally upsetting the apple cart of what their life entailed at that point with running kids around and all that good stuff. He said he discovered direct sales and he just said, "Oh my gosh, it's everything. It's everything. It any obstacle that anyone has, direct sales can be the answer because there's no one telling you when you have to work. You work when you want to work. You decide how much you want to make. You decide when you don't have to work, when you can take off, where you have to be when you have to be there." And I honestly have lived this business for 30 years, and it is absolutely the honest to goodness truth. And if you're ever looking for a side gig, you're generally going to go out and work for minimum wage at hours that other people don't want to work, because you're the part-time new guy. So the fact that we get paid so much more pleasantly than minimum wage, and that we can choose our own hours. And now in today's world, even the way in which we represent or sell our product, be it online or in person and everything in between, I really have found that it's just been the greatest thing for my family and me. And you may not think about these things when you're younger, but according to the Idiot's Guide to Getting Rich, the fastest way to get rich in America is to open your own business. They said even if you're not going to make money on your business, you'll make money on your business because of the tax write-offs. So it's like if you're listening to this today and tomorrow you're a sales rep, all of a sudden your cell phone and mileage on your car and parts of your house, I mean, all the jewelry you ever buy could be write-offs. And it's a very important thing to keep in mind because it's extremely smart to do something like that regardless of where you are in life. So
There's
long
actually people
answer.
commenting about that book that they've read it. So that's kind of cool. So drop a 1 in the comments if you found some value in that, because I think that was really valuable. The other thing I want to ask is those of you who are watching us on our business page, which is Grace and Grit Studio business page, click that share button. We actually do a drawing for people that share. So click the share button and share us on your wall. You never know who you know
Sharing
that
is
might
caring.
need this information. Sharing is caring. So now that we know what direct sales is and the fact that we're really, personal shoppers or liaisons to the jewelry, how does jewelry fit into all of that, Mary Grace? Why?
Yeah, because I mean, if you were going to open a store or whatever, there are so many different products that you could choose from, and some that are really dominant in the direct sales business. Well, more in multi-level marketing, actually, though, is that fitness and nutrition and makeup and home products and all of that. So there's a lot of different ones to pick from. And I, as a matter of fact, started my career with a candle company. And I just lucked into it. I went to a show. I was in the back of my head thinking how I would love to relieve some of the financial pressure for my family, especially for my husband, some kind of gift that I could give him. And I thought, oh, I can do this. I know you went to a basket party, you fell in love with the product. Maybe you were a consumer of it, but you decided to go with them. We didn't really purposefully study and look at what we should go into. Okay, so Pargleen is the only company that hires people based on their experience. So, like, you can come in at a title that's commensurate with what you've achieved in direct sales with other companies, which makes total sense. Therefore, when our other companies went under, now we knew more about the direct sales field and we wanted to make a decision, a smart decision based on where we should go. I didn't know a lot about jewelry at that time. I really didn't even wear a lot of jewelry, but boy, did I find out why it was so beneficial. So the other people that found out and did us the favor a long time ago were the Levine family. They started our company in 1955, and they knew that they wanted to use this model because they wanted other people to become wealthy also through the generations, not just their own family. Thank you. And but they didn't know what product, and they were so smart. They said, well, let's hire a couple people and send them out in the world and get what their input. And they hired 3 different consultants, and all 3 consultants from 3 different companies, none of the knowing that the others were out there doing the same research, came back with jewelry by far as number 1. And they were like, oh, okay. Oh, tell us more. And I have lived these things now. So I get a little passionate about it. I probably talk too much, but it's just so exciting, you guys. Like, I don't know how I missed it, but it's like, first of all, the market. If you're going to represent something, you want to represent something that has a really big market. And, men and women, the number one gifts in the world. Everybody accessorizes. When you look around, they might say they don't wear jewelry, but they accessorize. Everyone's got a belt, a shoe, a purse.
Yeah.
Usually two
Purse.
shoes. Yeah.
That's me
And
too.
if they don't accessorize, they sure will when they're done with us. And we show them all the neat things that jewelry does. It's one of the number one compliment grabbers in the world. It's a number one conversation starter. Up in your accessory game actually saves you money, because your basics are on your money's on your basics, and then you're just, changing it up with season. It's considered consumable.
Yep.
As it changes with the seasons, the outfits, the trends. So people don't say, oh, I have one piece of jewelry, I'm done. No, they don't. And it's very inexpensive to ship and store. So our customers don't mind having a lot, thank goodness. But we also don't have to worry about having huge spaces to keep our stuff. If we do choose to go out to do some kind of presentation or party or get together, it fits in the size of something like the size of a purse. I literally had to get a new hip because of what I used to carry back and forth. It did damage to my body. Yeah, it was a lot. I didn't think I cared, but when it was over, I was like, "Ooh, this is much better." Yeah, people wear our products. Now think about that, you guys. So I will tell you this. I'm going to be very honest. I'm always very honest. When I sold candles and I was signing people up to sell candles, I knew that they were going to have to be a little bit of a performer. Okay. They were going to get in front of people and they were going to show them the benefits of the candles. Ginny, you have found this. I have found this.
Yeah.
When you're doing jewelry, you almost feel like you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen to you. They want
No,
to
they just
play in
want to
the
see it.
jewelry,
Yep, they just want to see it.
They want
Yeah.
to play in the jewelry. And it's like, what
Yeah.
girl, little, big, medium, anywhere in between, or guy, doesn't like playing in a treasure chest, right? So it's like, I'll just bring my jewelry over and you can play in it. It's really fun. And, as far as like when I talked about nutrition before, again, so many great companies out there. I am in no way saying anything against any of them. I am only
Right.
telling you that I'm glad that I don't have to be responsible for what someone's putting in their body or on their skin. Even the candles was kind of sketchy because there was fire involved. So it is really neat that I could ask my little 2-year-old granddaughter, where does the bracelet go? So she is qualified to sell Berkeley. So yes, jewelry is, and it's not going anywhere. There is a $43 billion forecast for jewelry, not like designer inspired jewelry, like our jewelry, not like real diamonds, but our type of jewelry. 43 billion is forecast to be set in the next few years. And it's like, oh my gosh, I totally want to be on that train. It's just universally attractive. And just, again, we're wearing our product. So it brings us back referrals. People see us in our product. This is all really neat stuff that I get excited to tell you because I hadn't really thought of it until I started living it. And I'm like, this is so much easier than what I used to do. It really is. If I walked around with a candle in my pocket or on my neck, that wasn't going to help my sales. Put it that way.
No, the fact that you can wear the product is actually very, that's a big draw. And then the fact that when you wear our product, you literally people do compliment you on it. We
Yes,
hear that from our clients and customers all the time.
all
In
the
fact,
time.
ladies and gentlemen, drop in the comments if anybody's ever commented on your Park Lane jewelry.
Yeah.
Drop in the
And if
let
you
me
are a
know.
little bit shy
Yeah.
or more reticent, it's perfect because it's so casual and you're just like, oh, that makes me so happy. I represent a line out of Chicago. This is what I do. I would love to give you my website. That's so easy.
Yeah.
So
It's a,
a lot
it's a
of times people go,
compliment.
oh, I can't be pushy. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. No. And you know what? If you're worried about being pushy, you can't be pushy. You're not pushy, Yeah.
I love that. I love
It's true.
that because that goes for anybody who's interested in being a stylist or anybody who's interested in hosting. If you're
Yes.
worried about being pushy, you're not a pushy person. So don't
Mm-mm.
worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
That's a great line. Okay, so now we're seeing all these compliments, and I'm loving this because that's what jewelry does. It makes people happy. The second you said, "I'm going to bring my jewelry over, we're going to play in it," this, they don't care that we're there. They just want to look at what we brought. They don't care.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's sparkly things and it excites them. So tell me, let's transition though. Okay, so we know why jewelry, but now tell me why Park Lane jewelry specifically.
Yeah. And honestly, you guys, this is part of my story. Part of my story is that I saw my candle company was going down.
Yeah.
I decided to look at other companies. I had two different jewelry companies that I had narrowed it down to. And honestly, they were going to be different types of jobs. I absolutely love working in the field, which is what I do, which is what any of you would do, should you decide to join us. This was
Right.
going to be more like a corporate position. So that in itself was kind of like flattering, but salary, travel, not the flexibility and all of the neat things that brought me the joy that I've had in this business. But regardless, I compared the programs and I knew that whatever I wanted to represent, whatever I represented, whether I was like a trainer or a seller or whatever, I knew I wanted to be able to say with all honesty that it was the best I'd ever heard of. And I couldn't say that about any other company once I had heard about Park Lane. And the fact of the matter is that people can't afford to do what we do because we've been around since 1955. We're cash rich, we're debt free, we've lived through wars. We've thrived through COVID. We've thrived through natural disasters across the country.
Right.
So they have their act together in so many ways that we don't even miss it. There's a lot to be said about security in this day and age. So that attracted me. Another thing that attracted me is the variety. I found that when I looked at other jewelry companies, almost every single one had a definite look. So maybe they were all Swarovski crystals, or all silver, or all charms. You guys know where I'm going with this, all pearls, right? Well, remember when I said one of the reasons I loved the whole jewelry idea was the market? Well, you want to have as big a market as you can. So I
Right.
absolutely loved that we had something for everyone, which we really do, all across the line, regardless of what people's tastes are. And yet, one of the best ways to stay on trend is through your accessories. And I love that even though Park Lane has been around since 1955, they have the philosophy and security of a very established company, but they have the excitement of newness at all times, and that they go with the trends. We have new
Sure
jewelry
do.
every single month, you guys. Every single month. Who could ask for more than that? And then there's our programs, which I won't make you dizzy with all of them, but if you want to really have something good to tell people, it starts with the customer. Okay. It starts with the customer. What can you offer the customer? And here at Park Lane, we have just a phenomenal ongoing customer sale where it's buy any two items for regular price, your least expensive are regular price, and then your more expensive are half price. And when you spend $90, you get the most expensive item for $35. So people look at the book, they see there's a $200 item. I'm like, never. 35 people, we're going to work you up to that. Okay. We never want to see anybody pay full price for anything more than $20 or $30. So I'm like, really, just chop everything in half as you're going through. And if you see a really big one, put 35. That's what we're going to do for you people. So they are absolutely thrilled to death because they are getting value. They don't care about the price, they care about the value. So when some people go, oh, I'm going to sell $5 jewelry. Well, you know what? People care pretty quickly if the $5 jewelry doesn't last, right? And honestly, not to be greedy, but we get paid commission. So I don't want to sell $5 jewelry.
Yeah, agreed. And I think everybody understands that. Yeah.
Much more excited by Park Lane, where our average order is over $100 and
Yeah.
they're thrilled. Also, not going out into the world with just one piece of jewelry to show off to their friends, but normally 6 to 7 pieces of jewelry to show off to their friends. Some studies have shown that in today's world, the number one reason that women will share something with other women is they want to be able to share a deal with their friends. So for us to host, when we get people that like say, I want you to get online, or I want you to come to my at the wine bar and share your jewelry with some of my friends, they are going to get a bunch of free stuff. Park Lane's so generous, it's ridiculous. But that's not really their main reason. Their main reason is because they want to sell, they want to share that sale. So this is just a wonderful, feel good, fuzzy thing all the way around. But in addition to that, we have the most generous hostess program in the direct sales industry, where our average hostess gets anywhere from $300 to $1,000 in free and discounted jewelry. So yes, people have gotten far more than that, but that's like our average. And I know with our other jobs, they might get one item for half price, or they might get $100
True.
free. You know,
Yeah.
that was a big deal. And with us, we go in knowing, oh, no, you're going to get that. There's no question about that, you know? So that's super cool. And then I end with ourselves, but really most of us start with ourselves when we look at something like this. There's very few people that are out in the world going, I'm going to look at a side gig where I can get a really good deal for other people. No, we're looking for a side gig because we want a deal for us. Okay. We want income. We want another social circle. We want tax write-offs. We want something to take up. You know, we want something.
Yeah.
So it only goes to, you know, the bottom line that we're actually very joyful that we have the highest paid direct sales reps in the direct sales industry. Other companies really can't do what we do. So they've kind of learned to just try to keep people from learning about us. That's all they can do. They really
True.
can just keep them away from us, because once they hear, they can't compete with that, you know. But based on your title, you make anywhere from 30 to 50% commission on your own sales, always going up. We have no minimums. And people absolutely adore that. So you
Yeah.
literally do not have to do anything. People go, what do I have to do? You know, you do not have to do anything. The person who's taken the risk, the people are our founders, our company. They want you to have this opportunity. So Park Lane is they've just got it all figured out. And any time that Scott, our CEO, hears about any program in another company, he wants to make sure we have that too. We are like his little sisters and his aunts and his, you know, we're family to him. So if they have a car, then you guys are going to have a car bonus. If they have a trip, then you guys are going to have 2 trips. How about free jewelry every single month? We have the ability to earn over $1,000 in free jewelry every single month of our whole entire career. I've been
Yep.
here for 15 years and I have never missed it. I don't know what that comes out to, 15 times 12 times 1,000, but it is a lot of jewelry. And that is my jewelry. It is my jewelry to sell. It is my jewelry to wear. It is my jewelry to give away. Okay. So if you're a customer, the smartest way to get the friends and family discount is to sign up as a Park Lane rep and buy your jewelry from yourself. Because wouldn't it be fun to get all the deals and then also get a paycheck every single week for a percentage back of what you spent? And we're all about it. We want what's best for you.
Amen. That was just so good. Okay, so now, because we have a ton of people watching, now I'm going to ask you to drop in the comments what jumped out at you that Mary Grace just said about why Park Lane. Tell us the top thing that you were like, oh, that's really good, you know, of all the things that she said. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask you, Mary Grace, the question that everybody always wants to know, and that is, why should I start now? Why now? Why is it a good time?
You know, this is a good wrap up, because I started with that statistic out there about how 95% of people in the world. Okay. Another really neat success principle that I learned along the way is that successful people don't overthink things. They'll look at you know, the options, the pros and the cons, and they'll make a decision pretty decisively and then make it the right decision. So if you are indecisive, honestly, what you're doing, you guys, I know this because we've all done it, is you're worried about the things that might happen. And we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I remember I said to my husband, what if no one wants to buy jewelry from me? And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't try this, no one's going to buy jewelry from me, you know? And like, it was just so simple, but I thought, you're so right. But just know that whatever misgivings you have, or little tiny fears, or little fun, whatever it is, we gotcha. Because we have an amazing training program here. I mean, I pay a professional to do images for us, so you can have a cut and paste business online starting today if you wanted to, you know? So don't worry about that stuff. Just lean in and say, okay, I'm going to try it. We don't have minimums, you know? So what's holding you back? There's no perfect time. you know? And people laugh at me, but I say people are less stressed about having a baby sometimes than doing something like this. And you're going to get
It's
baby for
true.
18 years. This, you might do it for a month and say it wasn't for me, and I'm like, well, you got to keep the money, you got to keep the jewelry, you got to still be our customer, we still love you.
Yeah.
So really, don't overthink those things. But we are in a season change, so it is a wonderful time to start, because whenever we're in transition, and this year has been so weird all across the country. So like, maybe you do have a sweater dress on, but maybe you have on, like, I'm going with my lighter silvers, like it's a little bit lighter than the heavy winter jewelry. So it's a transitional time. We just dropped a new line. We dropped a new line in January, and then we
Yeah.
dropped a capsule a week
Last week.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like absolutely perfect. And we have this wonderful deal. So normally it's $129. And for the $129, you get your own personal website, you get access to everything we have in your back office, and you get to choose $500 worth of jewelry. This week they said give them 600, so you get $600 worth of jewelry for $129, and that 129 also gets you your own personal website and everything. All right,
Yeah.
and it's a write-off, which we already talked about. That it's a
Yeah.
business write-off, and that's a great deal. $600 jewelry for 129. However, there's even more. What you do to get started, if you were opening a dress shop, a brick and mortar shop tomorrow, where would you start? You would put an I'm open sign, but you would invite people to come, right? And where do you
Yeah.
start with? People that you know, you know. So now you have a little get together. It can be in person, it can be online. We have so many different options for you. But the person who invited you to this call tonight, they'll do the show for you. They'll do it, but you'll get paid. So by the time that $129 comes due on your credit card, you have way more than that. You're already ahead of the game. So I can't really, in all good faith, say it's a no cost start, but kind of is a no cost start. We want to leave you. You will never leave Park Lane with less than you came with. You will always leave Park Lane
I understood
with
you.
a good feeling and with more than you came with. So I hope that there's anyone out there. This is Missouri. We're called the Show Me State. I feel like this just needs sometimes to have help people get out of their own way, because I get that feeling of like trepidation, but it's like, come on.
Just join us. Just join
Join
us.
us.
I'm dropping the questionnaire right now in the Google form. I went ahead and put it right in the comments, so it's there. It's also above in the featured section. But Mary Grace, I think that summing up what you just said is basically just do it. It's a just do it mentality.
Like Nike says.
Nike
Yeah.
says just do it. But
Yeah.
go back to your stylist that invited you here tonight and say to her, you know what, I'll do a party. Because
Yeah.
honestly, that's the lifeblood of our entire business. And you'd be helping her. And at the
Yes.
end of the party, not only will you get beautiful jewelry free, but you also then can choose. Would you like the jewelry and the paycheck, or do you just want the jewelry and you want to give
Yeah.
card?
Like we
Or
call it
him?
a decider party, because it's like,
Right.
you know what, there's no pressure. We're fine. We love what we have going. Um,
Right.
we don't need you, but you need us, maybe. I did that come out right? But it's like, I know sometimes people think like, oh, they're just like, no, like we really are doing well.
Yeah.
And we really want you to be part of it. It's
And we
life
want to help
changing
each
stuff.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I loved this time together. We had a lot of great people in here asking questions and comments. You can definitely go back to your stylist if you have further questions. But Mary Grace, really quickly, that questionnaire, are you going to give them 24 hours to fill that out? I mean,
Yeah,
we want them
24
to do that
hours.
right now.
I go through them and pick the winner, and you don't have to say that you're joining in order to win. It's a very
Nope.
fair process. Yeah, just fill it out completely. I do ask that. And truly, you guys, just like when you hear a good deal for someone, like there's probably someone in your life that that really could benefit from something like this. Share this video with them or send them to this page and have them watch. And we're
Yep.
here for you. Yeah. Thanks so
Bring them
much.
next week. Like I said in the beginning, and I'll say it in the end to close it out. Bring a friend next week along with you. A gal pal is always great because you have a second set of ears to listen to what we have to offer. So,
Yep.
Mary Grace, thank you so much. We will see you again next Monday night right here at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Thank you so much for answering all these questions, and thank you to everybody who
Thank you
hopped
for
on
being
today.
here. Thank you, Janine. You're the best. Bye, everybody.
Bye.